Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hi, Serenity. How are you? Are you well? Oh, goodness. Hi, Thev. How are you? Desperado, hello. Happy Saturday. Let's see. Really, Alex? Oh, I'm so glad. Gets me pumped too. It's actually one of two versions. Depending on the mood I'm in, I'll play the other one, but the other one you would not like. I mean, it's the metal version, the original version. This is actually the instrumental version, funny enough. The other one is hardcore, though. I like it. I need to see if I can play Spotify through my browser currently because the client, desktop client, is not working. Because butts. That's why. So. Hi, Z-Sketch! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Pride. I'm okay, Serenity. I've had kind of a whirlwind of a day in terms of emotions, but for 1,000,005 different reasons. But regardless, I'm here now. I'm okay. I hope everyone has had a good Saturday thus far. Maybe give me a highlight of your week or your day or just something good that's happened to you lately. That's always nice to hear. Let me see. What? I can't play it on the... Oh, get out of here. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. You know, maybe... No, I'm not gonna do that. Can't afford to paint to decorate my apartment, so 2 neighbors dropped off paint for me for free. Oh, that's so nice. You have good neighbors. Drudgy work day, here to lift your spirits. Well, good. I hope to do that for you. I plan to keep the stream as much as I can very lighthearted. Considering everything that's been going on, I'm not trying to be, what's the word? Avoidant or disrespectful in any way to what's happening, because everything that's happening is important. Everything. Pride, Black Lives Matter, all this stuff. It's all important. But if it's true that if you don't take a break from things, you will go crazy, you'll get fatigued, you won't be able to, you know, keep up the good fight and all that. So I kind of wanted to do my part in that I'm giving you a safe spot, I'd like to think. You know, if you wanted to lightly talk about things, you know, obviously, but no crazy stuff, nothing heavy. I really want this to be more of a happy experience, I guess, just because I think a lot of people need it right now. We need places to kind of, you know, go back, recharge, and get back out there and whatever. So, I know a lot of people that do have streaming platforms. A few of them I know of have actually foregone streaming for a while. Like, they said, I'm not going to stream, you know, for either the next week or the month, you know, out of observance and respect for what's happening. But, you know, at first I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I should do that and just not stream. But then I thought about it a little more, and I thought, you know, if you have a platform you can use and you can kind of keep a balance of knowing and being aware of what's going on, not necessarily leaning too much into it so it's, you know, overbearing and just more you know, of politics and everything hitting people in the face. I'm going to try to avoid that for the most part because I don't want to be more of an onslaught to people. But I think it is important to still, you know, don't cut off communication, you know, and encourage it, you know. So anyway, I'm trying to get any of my music things working, but that's not working. Watch the anime movie Coco. Oh, you watched it for first time now? Oh, we had to watch it right when it came out because Gabe's Mexican, so he enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was very nice. It's a good film. And I had to keep asking him, is that accurate? Is that accurate? And for the most part, yeah. Like, they did their homework. They got really good people to actually weigh in on a lot of their choices, so, you know. Oh, that's great, Desperado. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Ooh, relaxing outside. Heck yeah. Journey June is a distraction. Perfect. Journey June is a wonderful distraction. Sosa, thank you. Welcome. Well, I hope you're having a great day too. Oh, for fuck's sake, thank you. Don't worry about it. No pressure. If any of you are here from the Journey June account, well, first of all, welcome. Feel free to ask any questions regarding Journey June. If you have any questions or concerns, you know, with that, I'll be happy to answer any of those. Otherwise, I'll be kind of just working on this sort of junk, these little cities. I wanted to kind of go about a more relaxed way to approach a little city, because, you know, a lot of the things you see regarding like tutorials and how-tos with cityscapes and whatnot, those are usually kind of heavy in terms of accuracy and perspective, and honestly I feel like a lot of the time they scare people away more than encourage them. So this is going to be a lot more of a, I guess you could say, a hippie take to it, but more of a just having fun with it and not even using a ruler, nothing like that. Like, it's really going to be a going with your gut, and I'll give you some examples on how to use a reference appropriately. I feel like a lot of people aren't sure how to do that too, so we'll address that. But I gotta get some music going here, or else I'm gonna freak out. Let me find some. Here we go. It's just, I don't know what it is, but whenever I start running my streaming software, both Spotify and iTunes, or music as it's called now, don't like to work. So I'm gonna try to remedy that. Rule breaker, yeah. I know, right? Funny story. So, speaking of rulers, I did see your pun there, Alex. Good work. It's kind of funny because today I got all these in the mail. I ordered a bunch of these because honestly I never used them before. And then Gabe had one because Gabe uses them a lot for comics and whatever. But I like found a listing for a bunch of these that it was like 14 bucks, and it came with all of these, which if you've ever seen one of these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever, one is usually like $7. So the fact I got that many for like 15 bucks, crazy good. But I'm not going to use those today. But I do use them on occasion when I want something very specific, you know, anything like that. So they're good to have around, but you don't always have to use things like that. I really think a lot of the time that scares artists away from doing, you know, things that could be considered that. So, I know those are typically pricey, right? You know, I'll find the listing and put it up in our Discord. And Moobot just mentioned our Discord, so if anybody wants to go in there and take advantage of that. Journey June people, we also have a Journey June channel in our Discord too, if you want to share your story every day, or you just want to talk about stuff, or you want to ask me or Gabe, the Journey June host, any questions at any time. It's just another resource to be able to do that. Oh, hi, Jeremy. How you doing? Yeah, I want it to kind of be a relaxing stream, really. Like I said, it's here if people want to vent or talk, always. I really want my stream to kind of be an escape for people in a place where you can kind of talk out problems if you have them, but at the same time, I don't want it to get too heavy. So, yes, feeling city. Very good. Very good. Straight lines freehand. That's hard. That takes years. Like, I know Gabe is ridiculously good at just drawing a straight line, just no problem, but man, I still have trouble. Hey, there you go, Sosa. Yeah, use this time to either draw if you haven't set aside any time today to do that, or just chill out if you need just a break. Just use this time for that. Liberated straight lines. Well, it's true in a sense that, like, let's say you're doing, like a city, right? For a panel in a comic, okay? If you're doing, like, buildings, and you use a straight edge, but everything else you're using in that panel is not utilizing the straight edge, you're going to have this very harsh contrast between your line quality. Almost so where it'll take you out of it. Similar to if you did like half of your panel hand-drawn and then, other parts of it with straight lines digitally, you're going to very much notice the difference. So it's almost better to, if you're going to do most of it hand-drawn, try to do the lines hand-drawn too. Otherwise, it's literally like a different style, so... Hi, Tito! Things look cuter without straight lines. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Same with detail. Usually things look better without detail. Okay, so I was gonna watercolor this on the stream, but I actually want to kind of show you guys, I guess, a walkthrough of how to do something like this. So I'm going to trace this. This is an ATC, by the way, for anybody who's not familiar. ATC stands for Artist Trading Card, and what that is, and I've got some watercolor one here too, it stands for Artist Trading Card, and it's usually 2.5 by 3.5 inches. Okay, so it's the size of like a Magic card, a Pokemon card, baseball card, what have you. And there's this whole, I don't want to say movement or anything like that, but there's a whole bunch of people that collect these and enjoy these and all that sort of thing. Just like, regular, I guess, originals and things like that. Oh, hold on, I gotta take a screenshot of something, because I'm gonna import it. Okay, so for this one in general, let me start from the beginning here. This one was actually heavily inspired by a piece I saw by Tsutomu Nihai. I think I'm saying that right. And this is his name. You can keep the looseness, but that's hard because you're holding down the straight edge and you're going down the side of it, so you can't really keep that loose. I mean, if anything, I would maybe draw a little bit, lift your pen, draw a little bit, lift your pen, and kind of wiggle it almost on purpose, but even then it might still look a little weird. Hi, Fowl. So if you look at this piece, this was actually the piece that heavily inspired this one. So if you want to open up that link and check that out, and then I'm going to try this other one here in a minute, and I'll show you. So if you look at that, You know, he's got a very nice painting style. Like, majority of the time his stuff is just ink, but I really dig this painting style because it's kind of dystopian, it's kind of muted, it's subtle, but it's also very rough and gives you a very specific feeling for his mood, right? And I really was captivated by this city on city on city ongoing, you know, view. And I really liked his little skyways he's got going on here. And the one in the foreground I really liked. So when you're looking at a piece for inspiration, you want to kind of think about what you like about it. You know, like the fact that I like that foreground bridge and kind of how it's repeated throughout the piece going backwards, so you can see that it's not the only one, he's just on one of them. And he's got a lot of similar buildings in here, but for me, in my style, I wanted to make sure that, you know, you could tell this was kind of an area that was maybe full of different animals and different types of creatures that would build different sorts of buildings, you know, because every building, depending on who it was built, may look different. So, you know, this building looks different than this one in the back with the fishnets, and this in the far back with these, you know, windows. You know, and then here and here, these are also like walkways and things between stuff. And obviously, since this is so tiny, you know, this is 2x3, where his piece is probably much bigger. You know, I did with what I could with this. So this was just a 0.05 micron and a 0.3 micron, which now that I'm looking around, I don't have those anywhere. What? What am I doing? I thought I got all my stuff. Here, give me a second. Yeah, way over here. Catch up and chat real quick. Agreed, Sosa. I like that, you know, sketches are rough and they kind of look, they maintain the life within them, you know. Yeah, I wanted a snail gondola and gondola snail. I was talking to Gabe about this, and we were talking about how ridiculous this is, and I actually think I might do a bigger version of a snail in a gondola. Because it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, and I love that. So I think I'm actually going to dedicate an ATC to a snail in a gondola. So if that floats your boat, stay tuned. And the acorn lighting thing. This one? I can kind of see that. I like that you know they're lights. See, that means I did it good. So who is here from the Journey June account? Super curious if there is anybody here from that. And feel free at any point while I'm ranting, talking, whatever, to interrupt me and just in the chat throw out a question, whatever you want. I'm totally fine with that. A heron on a horse. That's cute though. Love it. Oh, a snail houseboat. I like that. That's awesome. That's just true, Serenity. You've been here for years. Well, Z-Sketch, welcome then. Did you have any questions or anything you want to talk about Journey June at all right off the bat? How's it going for you? For those of you who are working on Journey June, let me know how it's going. If you're on level 2 especially, because level 2 is super new. Alright, I'm gonna actually start a different piece over here. And actually after this one I kinda wanna do the snail gondola. Damn! Serenity, you are gonna do it! I'm proud of you. You got ahead. So we were encouraging people to make a buffer. And Serenity has been doing just that. She is way ahead. So that's great. Proud of you on that. Oh, Z-Sketch. That's exciting. I actually really like that. So kind of like a reckless deck sort of scenario. That is exciting. That is, actually, I love that. I love that so much. It's one thing to actually, you know, craft a character that you're going to, you know, dedicate yourself to, but obviously it's going to be made with things that you like, so to actually randomly generate one, then to find the silver lining in the character to make yourself kind of enjoy who they are, that's impressive. I dig that. I would actually be very interested in doing that myself. That would be very fun. Okay, so, hey Dan, I'm good, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I was gonna take another piece of this guy's that I thought was cool and try it. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, and he may have used actual perspective for this. But, and it's this one if anybody's curious. So when you are using a reference or something as inspiration, remember what it is about that that kind of draws you to it. Because you want to maintain that during the actual creation of the thing. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, if anything is confusing or you want me to, elaborate on it, let me know. Modestly wealthy tailor elf. Parents are alive. It's magic moving tattoo. Cool. Mage. 4 younger siblings. That's awesome. Well, at least okay-ish is better than bad, right, Dan? At least there's that, you know. I'm gonna actually move this down, I think, if I can. I'm gonna slice the paper. Cut it out. Cut it out. Because honestly, my paper and area is not very big. So to have a whole 9 by 12 sheet right now is not... I have a guillotine for this stuff, but I just don't want to do it right now. It would be too loud for the stream. That's great! Remember though, Z-Sketch, that if it doesn't end up the way you like it, that's okay too. I mean, it's just an exercise, that's why it's so dirty looking, you know. Alright, so I'm going to put this aside. I may or may not color this on stream, so I was planning on it. Actually, I might. I might. We'll see. I did feel like coloring today. Oh, that's a cool bit. I like that. I'm glad it's going okay. Have you guys made a buffer yet of a couple days? Just in case something comes up in your personal life, you'll already be ahead, you know. Okay, so looking at this piece that I put in the chat there, it is a somewhat difficult angle, but it's simple enough because you can break it down to honestly just a couple lines. Aristocrat. I have a guillotine for this, but I don't want to use it because it's so loud. I mean a paper cutter. I know guillotine makes it sound so la-di-da, but, you know, it's not. Oh, Serenity. That's an awesome idea. That is a really cool idea. Actually, you could sell a digital audiobook slash, you know, picture book, like the pictures go with the audiobook, as like a little zip package and sell it for like $10 if you wanted to, and people can play the audiobook while looking at the book you gave them. That's a cool idea. You want me to color it on stream? I can do that. Oh, Serenity. Yeah, you should hit up Megan. Megan has been trying to get into voice acting, and she's really good. Like, she's really good. She does all the voice acting things, well, like when she goes to cons and stuff, she'll do those contests and things. You guys could totally work together on that. That would actually be really cool. So I guess I don't know, do you guys want me to draw a new city, or do you want me to color this one? I guess kind of your call. You guys are here to watch me, so I'm kind of cool either way. Makes it sound like heads are rolling. Well, not on my end of things. I tend to keep it tame over here. Ellis. I really like Ellis. That's a really cute name. It sounds noble. I think that's perfect sketch. I think that's going to be really cool. Yeah, and I mean, who decides what is elfish and what isn't, you know? Like, elfish is whatever, anything fantasy, you guys. There are no real rules to fantasy. Like, anytime somebody's like, you can't do that, that's not an orc, blah, blah, blah. You guys, it's fantasy. You can make up an orc that looks like a mouse and call it an orc. Like, there are no real rules to this, and if anybody wants to crack down on it, it's just say that, okay, yeah, that's the traditional way, you know, it's been seen, but it's fantasy. It's fantasy for a reason, you know? Okay. I guess I'll start drawing it. Yeah, and Megan's really cool, Serenity. Like, I've known her for a couple years now. At least it feels like a couple years. Alright, so I'm gonna take this a little bit as I guess just the guidelines. So I'm looking at it. I don't want to copy it like exactly, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just kind of figure this out and then see if I see anything in it. Let's see, I might even make, I do really like this main one though, so I might kind of take that into account, but I might change something about it too. But the nice thing is, these sorts of things, I actually would, I think, really like another walkway up here, but I don't want it to go directly aligned with the side because tangents are kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm adding a door up here. And actually, I just got a cool idea. I'm gonna make this, these are water ducks. Shoot, I should have done this on watercolor paper. I like how I do water on watercolor paper better. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Switch up. Here's my watercolor paper. You guys are seeing it live. As I'm thinking it, I'm doing it, whatever. Remix. It's gonna be a fish city. A fish city, you guys. It's gonna be a fish city. Ooh, fuck's sake. Calling it out. Take that, George. Alright. I'm gonna actually tape this down because sometimes I'm a dummy. And I move things. And I want it to stay in the camera view because I'm kind of notorious for moving it out of the camera. Alright, Fish City. Kind of say that out loud to yourself, it's actually kind of difficult. Fish City. Fish City? Oh, uh-oh. Fish City. Fish City. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. So sometimes, like, you know, cities should not be scary. You know, from far away, I could see them kind of being freaky. I guess just because, you know, all the straight lines are really intimidating, all the details intimidating. But honestly, if you want to kind of, I guess, break it down so it's a lot easier to think about, just, you know, focus on one little part of the city. If you've never seen the anime movie Tekken Kinkreet, you should definitely check that out. Tekken Kinkreet is amazing. It's a good story. The freaking city is amazing. And it's, I don't know, I feel like if you look at these, like the pictures of the city and the movie itself, it'll actually inspire you just to throw a bunch of shit in a city. Because really, it's just whatever. Cities are whatever, right? They're products of the people that live there. So, you know, making up a city is kind of fun and easy if you think about it like it, you know. So Fish City. And like I said, I'm just making up all these lines, you know. Don't overthink stuff. Overthinking is what usually kills creativity. So I feel like it's important to not overthink a lot of stuff. So the only lines I'm actually keeping from this reference, sort of, is this one. I really like how that interrupts what's going on. And then kind of this rounded one. This one is not as, like, in the same place, but yeah, those are big paintings and stuff. But when they do, like, close-ups on areas of the city, it's just a bunch of BS that's just thrown together, you know? So there is going to be an area of this that I'm going to have kind of taper off, and then there's going to be, I think, water. So I do want it to go down further than it is, so it looks taller. So we'll do that. And then, yeah. Oh man. But like, if you don't feel like drawing characters some days, you know, even if you're a character artist or you consider yourself one, it won't kill you to take a break from drawing characters. You know, it's good sometimes to do that so you can, you know, go learn something else and kind of bring it back and apply it to your characters and stuff. Because you'd be surprised what sort of things can apply to your art now, in your storytelling now, you know, that you learn. And I mean, if you have other hobbies like crocheting or, I don't know, jewelry making in my case, or, you know, any kind of hobby, there are ways that can be used in your art. You know, nothing you ever do is wasted. In some way, it's going to be affecting your artwork, you know? So, you know, if you're working on something else or whatever, it's fine. You know, you need a break from art sometimes. Every artist needs a break from art. Don't think that, you know, to be a great artist, you have to be arting all the time. It's like, no, 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 no. You have to have a break too. Let's see. Let's do some consistency here. Consistency here. I'm kind of keeping things consistent as I'm jumping around here, because I don't want to forget, you know, how these look. Some characters can shut up. Yeah, Serenity, I noticed you upped your bird game. Like, in the few that you've posted already, I can tell you're really grasping how bird wings are actually constructed. Hi, NHL fan, welcome back. Yeah, and having too many hobbies, I get it. That can be crazy. Focus is good too. I mean, it's just a balance, really. I feel like having maybe, you know, one passion, but like up to 3 hobbies on the side, you know, that are serious, that you can actually make some progress on, is fine. It's good. But more than that, and you're probably losing focus on some stuff. I could totally see that, yeah. Because you gotta focus sometimes on some things, you know. The only real problem I ever have when I'm drawing cities is figuring out what I was drawing, if that makes sense. Like, my lines. I get lost in my own lines. Like, when I draw it, I know it had a purpose, and then I'll move away from it, and I'll come back to it, and I'll be like, wait, what is that? Or it'll look like it's part of another line. And I do that in my portraits all the time, and it drives myself nuts. Oh, some secular shit. What is going on here? But yeah, for anybody doing Journey June, good job. We're almost a week in. Proud of all of you guys. It is not an easy challenge by any means. It's probably the most thought-intensive monthly challenge that's out there that I know of. You know, Junicorn is also happening, and that's hosted by my friend Heather Hitchman, and she reached out to me, and I've got day 19. So when day 19 comes up, you will see my unicorn, and the word for that day is blessings. So I already have an idea of what I want to do for that one, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't change, because I think it sounds like a cute idea for it. But so if you're into unicorns, check out Junicorn, and then her specific hashtag for her challenge is Junicorn in Teratoff. That is her world name. Okay, so this looks a little funny, so I have to draw another building ending here for this one to actually make sense. So as you're drawing this city, you'll figure out where some things are like wonky. So for this one to actually make sense, this one had to be in front of it, because this one actually changes its perspective a bit. Because you can make that work no matter what, you just have to figure out how to place it, right? So as you're just kind of doodling the city, you'll figure that out. You know, it's just part of sketching. You'll see it and you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll change that. And then, you know, if I wanted to do this, and let's see, measure that. And I feel like this step down here would be good if this actually had a waterfall, and then this would make a lot more sense. And like I said, I'm just going logic here, you know, of what I know about height and going back in the foreground and things like that. And, you know, that takes studying on some degree, but nothing crazy. Like if you've ever seen a bridge or something, you know what's up. So I'm going to actually line this too. And other things you can do to make your city more clear as you're doing it to your viewer and what's going on with it is doing things like this. If you, like if there's a waterway and you line it with, you know, stones, you can show, you know, where that keeps going to continue this narrative down here. And, you know, make them a little smaller, they're farther away. How much? Whatever. However much you think feels appropriate, you know? I mean, there could be another drop down under this one. We don't know. So for this fish city, I would like to draw a fish in here. And man, if I can add a little hat. Yes. Hat added. But I would like this fin to be above the water, but we'll see how that goes once I get to coloring it. Yeah, in regards to Journey June, if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to ask. There are no bad questions, okay? No bad questions. Or stupid questions, I should say. No bad or stupid questions. They don't exist, so ask anything. Actually, I want that one a lot smaller. December. I don't know if I want to know what that one is. There you go, Serenity. And you know, you'll get a lot more done with focusing things. I think the main, I guess, sin of our generation is that we are all over the place. No one can focus. Everybody's just trying to do everything all at once. The key to getting good or succeeding at anything is just focus. It feels like crap because, you know, you're just doing the one thing, but once you knock that out, you've got that one thing completely done, you know. So definitely focus as much as you can. What did I say, Jeremy? Did I not say my Junicorn? The whole thing's fishy? Oh, it is. It is. It's for whichever. Honestly, Thev. If I actually have a couple people who are just writing, They're writers, they're not artists, and they just want to use the prompts to write their own story for the month. You can totally do that. We encourage anybody to kind of do whatever they're being pulled to do. Megan here in the chat, she's doing a photography take on it. So every day she's using the prompt as like a way to, you make a composition using photography and her character. So that's really cool. Jeremy in the chat here, he's doing just writing, prose. And no matter what, if you just keep doing the prompts every day, by the end of the month, you'll have a narrative. You'll have a story, one way or the other. So it's really however you feel you want to do it. We used to be a lot more strict about it, but we learned that it's better to kind of let people do what they want to do with it. A longhorned cowfish. Man, if I could get it in here and have people know what it was, I totally would. But I feel like, I don't know, I'll see what it looks like. Oh, I don't get it, Jeremy. Well, I've got, she's got guests of honor for every day doing that day's prompt. And my day's prompt is blessings. So on day 19, she'll put mine up as an example, which I think is cool. Hey, Kristen. Yeah, no limitation to medium, just because creativity is good with guidelines, but not necessarily crazy limitations, right? Oh, sorry. We do have certain rules though, but those are just for people who are trying to get the free publishing class at the end of the month. So if you complete all 30 days, at the end of the month we teach you how to make a digital book, a saddle stitch staple bound book, and a paperbound book, paperback. And because each one of those requires different amounts of finances, different ways to construct them, and we didn't want people to just make these stories and have nothing to do with them. We wanted you to be able to take it to the next level, especially if you're proud of it and you think this has true potential. So ideally, you finish the month, you maybe do 1 or 2 more revisions after that. You fully illustrate it, because this whole month is about not fully illustrating it, but focusing on the story. And it was originally geared for artists because we think through things so much more visually that doing it in thumbnails or storyboards, really for a lot of people, once they do a story that way, they're like, oh my god, no wonder I couldn't do it when I was writing it. I'm way more visual and this feels way more cinematic and obvious to do it this way. So once they do it that way, they can finally get that story out. So it's important that they at least try it once in their life and, see how it goes. So, we do this every year, and honestly, I think every year we've had 3 to 5 people not only finish it, but they take the class, and then they actually make the book, and then they start selling it. So that is always super cool, because you can actually see, thanks to the hashtag they use, the entire honest life of the story, it being made. And then if you look at their Instagram, usually they'll show as they're polishing it and making the book, like you can watch its whole life. And to me, there's nothing more exciting than that. It's true creative birth. It's really cool. There you go. Yeah, and if you're just using it loosely, you don't care about taking the class, you just want something that feels communal, there's a community behind it for June. And you can do it any month of the year. It doesn't even have to be, June. We just wanted a month that, made sense for the challenge, and that every year we could have a bunch of people, partaking in it. So there is a community time. But if you'd rather do it privately, you can do that, however fits your situation and how you feel. Because we only care that you're actually doing this stuff. We want you to make the thing. And we want to help you. So, You know, there's that. And I mean, we made a level 2 this year, which in the past it's only been a level 1 thing. But once Gabe and I, the other host, we did the challenge ourselves the first 2 years with everybody. And we realized, we were like, man, you know, doing it once is learning, doing it twice is being like, okay, but 3 times, that's gonna get old pretty quick. We need to make a level 2. So we actually made a level 2. Sophisticated. Gabe! Oh man, Alex, where are you with the puns? Gabe's poning you, man. Porpoise. Oh my god. Gabe's up to 3. Jesus. Absolutely. Yeah, stick figures are fine. Completely. Funny about this drawing. If you guys, if anybody is kind of wanting more of a, I guess, a better explanation than I'm giving at any point, or if you just, like I said, you want to kind of teach yourself on this, if you go to our, it's actually Journey Through June, because we couldn't get the Journey June account. Some random person has it. But if you go to Journey Through June on Instagram, if you go down here to where you see this has Gabe's hands and this has my iPad, this one here is kind of the general questions, Journey June basics, kind of what I've already talked about. But this one is a comics workshop that Gabe leads. And he talks about like panels and how to do panels, you know, good books you can get, what not to do, what to do, how to like handle lettering, because lettering is one of those sins that, you know, people just don't understand how to do. So if you're interested in any of that, that's the Journey June Comics Workshop. That's on our main profile here. Kind of the 9th thing here. So every day we are doing the prompt for like level 1, the prompt for level 2, and then here are both of the non-expanded prompts, the concise prompts. But it'll tell you exactly what you need to kind of do for that day. So we really tried to make it easy, that if you just take it day by day, it's not a huge brain chunk, you know. So. And the sea. I don't know, Alex, those are kind of stretches. Hell, but you join us? I want this fish to have a hat too. There we go. Okay. So at this point, we've got, you know, the main areas that show some fishes. And then I'm going to look back at that reference that I gave you guys to kind of see how they handled this building, right? Because it is going down into space, and you don't, like, ideally, if you were doing this legitimately, you'd have, this is about, I think, 1 point? No, it's 2 point. So these are going down, right, to a vanishing point, and then these ones are also going somewhere, all these lines. But you can kind of, you can blur that. But if I was doing this legitimately, I'd have, like, an actual vanishing point. But I don't. And you don't always need one. So I'm going to kind of play with this, see if that looks right, and then go from there. You guys. Keep going. Keep going. I'm fin pressed? No, that was forced. Let's see. I want some pipes and stuff. So now I can start thinking in terms of theme. So, like, what would be thematic to this? Well, you know, tanks, pipes, fishing nets, though that's kind of morbid, I guess. Maybe they're more like elevators. I don't know. Except they would have, actually no, they'd be more like locks. Like boat locks. Because they have to stay in the water, most of them. Unless there's like a fish catapult, Anyway, that's a lot more in here than I can fit, but I really dig this concept at this point. So maybe this isn't exactly like... Yeah, maybe this isn't a building. Maybe this is a giant tube with windows that they would shoot down. So does anybody have any questions so far on city stuff? Am I covering enough, or is anything confusing? Because I want it to kind of be not obvious, but... Ooh, I forgot. Can a window show an octopus tentacle? Yes. Let me think of how to show that. It'll have to be very just hinted at, because I don't want it to steal the show too much. This, let's see. Since this is an actual building again, I feel like I can add some actual windows to this, because I still want to push home that it's a city. So cities have a lot of repeating patterns in them too. So think of windows as a pattern, you know, things like that. Like if this was like a staircase or something, but it's a staircase of water, so it's like a chute. I can have that be water. And then maybe that's how, you know, this is. And maybe their apartments are just little like tank inserts. Right? And this is really rough right now, but I can go back later and erase out a lot of these semi-marks that I've made. Let me see if I've got my eraser. I have a little eraser I like to use. And knowing me, I've probably lost it. Man, I used to have my life together. And now I can't even find an eraser. What's the deal? I'll just use a smaller pencil. Just, I have so many supplies that I would think that, you know, I'd have them all in front of me, but then all of a sudden, nope, I need this one that's nowhere to be found. No. That's okay. You gonna shell this one? Oh, I like fishies too. Umbrella, ooh. Hi, Dennis. Fish potato gun. I don't even know. That's okay, Dennis. You stay here all you like. What is a blue bottle? Is that a type of bird? Hi, Soggy. I don't know how long it'd take to melt, but I know how long it'd stay if I had my go at it. I would eat a cheese city. Actually, for this one, Gabe was like, make the whole city cheese. And I told him, I'm like, everybody would have thought that. Gabe, come on. Come on. Stop being just basic. It's a mouse city, yeah, but it doesn't need to be cheese. I want to think that ancient fish made it. Ancient fish that used to have limbs and could ambulate, you know? And then over time, fish maybe got more stupid and basic and, you know, all that. Oh, a fish mortar. Oh, no. Oh, that's morbid, but I love it. It just, it shoots a fish. I do get crabby. I get crabby for a lot of reasons. Disagree. Hey, Dennis, good job. You're over halfway done. Yeah, de-evolving, right? I don't know. I like that idea. I like it a lot. So then for this over here, let's see. Alright, this is getting a little weird in terms of perspective a bit. But let's see. Because this is there. Maybe I'll just make little... No, wait. This would be a good place for a net. If I put a net. Maybe they use nets as like... Oh, maybe nets are like gates. That'd be kind of cool. But I don't know how to use that. Maybe that'd be here. Maybe it protects them from going down the next... See, now I feel like I'm thinking too much about this. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Maybe there's a net down here. Maybe it's like when we have tolls. Like, they'll raise the net if you pay the toll. Now that's also assuming fish have wallets or purses or something. So I'll put a little fish down here that's like waiting. Because I feel like a wall would be too hard to raise. So if it's a fish net, they can raise that easy enough. You gotta pay, buddy. Oh, Draco. He's a budgie. Oh. I want a budgie. Quit school. What's the net worth of the richest fish in town? 4 gills. Gil. What is gil? That's Final Fantasy currency, right, gil? Sorry, I'm stealing that for fish currency now. Too bad. So sad. Maybe this is a bubble. That would make actually a lot of sense. Maybe this is someone's house. Maybe the houses, the apartments, are actual bubbles. And maybe they're, since this is not a techie city, maybe it's like magic. So they're magic bubbles. So we could show a little fish that's like in here. It's like, hey guys, come on over to my house. I got the good shit. There we go. Yeah, man. Sand dollar make you holler. Oh, sand dollars. That's good. That'd be a really good. Maybe they have I'm trying to think of a cents pun so they can have sand dollars and cents. You wanna get high? Oh, tentacle. Raising the net. Yeah, there you go. I wish this was bigger. So this is also a good example of doing a proof of concept and is a really good idea for using ATCs. So if I wanted to do this now on a really big piece of paper, I would have a really good roadmap of that. You know, especially once I get the colors in here, it'll, you know, I won't have as many questions because I'll already have done the proof of concept. I don't know why my follows disappeared. That's strange. Damn you, Streamlabs. This is like completely just whatevered. It pieced out. So did my jar. My jar over here. What is going on? Don't mind that. I gotta switch my thing. It's being stupid. But yeah, then I could actually do different kinds of fish. When something is this small, like this is smaller than my hand, I can't really get into detail showing different kinds of fish. You have to kind of stay with the idea of what a fish is to actually correctly, like, successfully tell someone, yo, this is a fish, you know? I think Streamlabs is dying. Let's see. Ooh, speaking of fountain, okay. So Thev, I'm actually taking something you just said and implementing it. You said fountain. So maybe, I mean, something needs to power this current, right? So maybe here, God, I'm glad you said the word fountain. That actually just inspired me to put in some sort of propulsion. So let's say there's a little waterfall under each bridge, I guess, or under a few of them that keeps the water going, as well as the obvious height, you know, it's going down and down and down. But let's use that. Maybe it's a square one. Goes down here. So I'm gonna still see the ghosting of these behind there, but not as heavy as everything else. Right? Right. So this will become way more apparent once I start watercoloring it, which will be in a minute or two. I'm gonna start doing that. Now, I really like the idea of keeping these solid, but I do want to give them some texture, because in my head they're concrete. They are concrete. So and then these things are kind of in the background. And this is in the foreground, so make sure the things that are in the foreground have thicker lines, alright? And they're going to be more saturated, typically darker colors. So that's going to help these foreground elements really drive home that, hey, I'm in the foreground. Check back and chat in a second here. There you go. Oh, in the pet channel. Oh boy. Oh, Draco. Oh, he's beautiful. How old is he, Sketch? He's adorable. Serenity, your bird sanctuary is like no joke. That is huge. Right, Robin. So if I was doing this bigger, I would totally work in an octopus, and it would be great to have one of those as like the parking in quotations, parking area. He turned 5 in April. Oh, what a baby. Or water. Yeah, but I feel like fish could jump over an octopus arm too, you know? Like, I feel like maybe they're just the toll booth operator. Like, maybe they run the locks that have fish bridges and all that. But the net, I feel like they could just roll up or something. Yeah, okay, that works. I'm gonna do a thing here. And then, you know, working in different, this does have some really bad perspective going on here, but that's okay for the most part. Doing different kind of textures on buildings and stuff is really going to help too. So like if I want this one to have some almost cobblestone looking siding to it, that's going to help tell everybody else, well, you know, if there's a building down there similar to this, oh, it's probably, you know, that building. That sort of thing. See, this is already kind of wonk. Gotta fix that a bit. So like I said, you don't have to use, rulers for this stuff. You'll just notice when things are kind of wonky, and you'll just want to fix them. Be like, all right, well, that's not exactly right. Change it. No big deal. What is this? This is not a song, you guys. How long do budgies usually live? Bird people are no joke. My aunt is a bird person, and a reptile person. She has a boa, and she has cockatoos. Not cockatiels, cockatoos, big ones. And she's had them forever, but she is serious. Like, bird people are serious. Up to 10 years, huh? Oh, budgies. Baby budgies. So even though this has the same stonework here, I think we could actually change the siding of this one if we want to. So just to keep it simple, and then just have it be like rough. And then here we could add more of that. Look, there we go. Okay, I just really want to start coloring this now. So I'm trying to see what I was doing. This is me and my lines again. Getting confused. Yeah, alright. Yeah. I'm gonna take a process pic of this real quick. Take process photos. You'll be happy you did. I like showing these to my patrons anyway. And I do this for all my stuff, not just what's on my stream. So my patrons at $3 and up now. If you were on the $1 and up, you'll be seeing these too, but nowadays it's the $3 and up. I had to change it. Pigeon noises. Oh, cute. Oh, chickens. I wish we could have chickens. I would love to have chickens. Gabe, are you listening? Do you wish we could have chickens? I wish we could have chickens. Okay. Then I think I'm just gonna hint at some windows down here too. Okay, so already these kind of feel like they could be in the same sort of, space, but maybe this is further down. Maybe this water is the water that's down here, But I'm gonna make this one look a little bit different in terms of it's gonna have pencil lines and not ink lines. I feel like you shouldn't get birds if you know you don't like a lot of noise. Because I don't know, I think it's obvious that, yeah, birds are gonna make noise, guys. Like, if somebody wants a bird but hates noise, it's like, do you know what you're doing? I'm sure there are birds that are less noisy than other birds, but I don't know, I would just assume most of them make a lot of noise. I got a new watercolor set, but I haven't used it yet, so I'm not gonna show that on the stream yet. Because I don't want anybody buying it if it sucks. So in a future stream after I've actually tested it, I'll let you guys know how it is. But I saw a video of a woman using it, and she's getting pretty good colors out of it, so I was like, well, maybe I should try it. So I took a chance and I bought it, but like I said, I gotta figure out if it's good or not. Where is my thing? Here, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I gotta find the thing. I swear I put it out here. an oatmeal lid that I just got today from an old oatmeal thing, and I was going to use it as a mixing cup thing. Here it is. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to use this silly oatmeal thing as a mixing thing. Palette. Palette is the right word. Poop monsters. I love it. Alright. Oh, England. I'm so surprised at how many overseas people I get. I'm streaming at 7. You guys are up late on your time, aren't you? That's crazy. I almost feel like overseas people really like streams, like art streams, more than say game streams and what else. And now I've lost my brush. Half my stream is looking for things, I swear to God. I don't understand what my problem is. The worst part is half the time I put things in a place I think I'll remember them. And I never do. I never remember. It's so dumb. I need to put white underneath this or else I'm going to be confused. There we go. Recorded. 3 a.m. Damn, Serenity. I did. Yes, Serenity, thank you. Serenity is one of the ones that always holds me accountable to taking my process pics because I always forget. I'm gonna go over my lines here. So I really like painting water. I don't know if some of you have seen my paintings where I paint water, but I love painting water. It's really fun for me. It's fantasy water, so it doesn't look like realistic or anything like that, but man, I love painting it. It's so much fun. So ideally, if I get all the shading and everything right on these, it'll give the effect that I want it to. But we'll have to see. Of course, all my lights are killing all this water and whatnot. Why isn't it orange? I was thinking actually about using orange for and making them just goldfish. Like it's Goldfish City. I get your joke, Alex, but you made me think too at the same time. So one of the things I'm looking forward to here is I'll be able to take some white and make a splash here, and that'll be fun. Now another good thing to keep in mind when drawing landscape or anything kind of bigger scale, haha, fish joke scale, is things that are further away are usually lighter and less saturated. So this will probably be the most saturated part of the piece. This will actually probably be the least saturated and lightest part. But yeah, if any of you Journey June folks want to work on your Journey Junes during my streams when I have them, I stream every Saturday at 7 p.m. Central, which is about an hour and a half ago. I'll start then. And You can come by, ask any questions you have at any time, interrupt whatever I'm doing. The whole point of this is basically to touch base with everybody. My streams have gotten a lot more lax over time, so sure, we might have an overall idea to what we're doing that day, but don't worry about it. Interrupt. Interrupt all you want. Okay. So I think I will, for the most part, make a warm city here, because I think it would contrast the water pretty nicely. I know, I used to stream at 2 p.m. The problem was we'd end up streaming all day, because we just didn't know when to stop. Like, there was a time that, and Serenity remembers this, when Gabe and I were streaming around 6 days a week combined, and it was a bit much, I'll be honest, it was a bit much. So that was a few years ago. We've been streaming for 4 years now. So we've significantly pulled back, especially since our like independent art side has taken off. So we're busy a lot, which sucks because I really wish we could stream a lot more. Streaming's just fun. Also, always have like a little test swatch piece of the paper you're using nearby, so you can test it before you actually implement it on your stuff. But yeah, we used to be a lot more active, but it's tough now, especially since it's harder to get paid on Twitch nowadays. So we just don't put as much effort into it as we used to. It's tragic, really, because we love Twitch. We love the people we have on Twitch. It's just you really have to figure out how to, you know, get paid for your time that you're doing. Otherwise, it's too hard. I think I'll do those kind of a rusted red-brown color. I kind of want to stay away from gray if I can. Oh, this needs more red. But we could probably try to shoot for earlier. It's just I know if we start earlier, we tend to go later. Like, it'll be a way longer stream because we just can't stop. At least if we do it this way, we kind of have to stop because we have to eat or something else, so... Oh, that's too bad for... Yeah, I mean, we could definitely try it. It's not like we have a set schedule, really, for anything. It's just our whole day will be gone for the most part. But yeah, I would like to do that a few times. That's why we were doing, we had some Journey June streams, like that comic workshop one I told you about. That one was at like 2 p.m. And I know we did that because we know a lot of our Journey June people are actually overseas, funny enough. Which I wouldn't have guessed that. It's kind of strange. But yeah, it ended up being that way. Oh, Megan. I love you. Yeah, we were doing like 6 to 8 hours a stream. And I don't even know if it was because we wanted to. I think it's just because we didn't realize how late every stream was going. So that was funny. Man, I really wish my overlay elements would come back. It would be nice. I always feel dumb when they disappear because it's like that's part of my, you know, my brand here, guys. You're taking away part of my screen. Yep, Megan forgot her watch and we went for 12 hours. Whoops. Then we want to get in shadows of like the bridge here. That'll be nice. And that'll speak louder as the bridge's shadow once I get all the other shadows around it too. The thing with getting in shadows and all that kind of stuff is consistency. So if you've got, you know, a shadow going on one thing, you gotta make sure it's on the other thing too, or else it's not gonna look like it's a shadow. It's gonna look really disconnected, really. I can be bribed to make the streams longer. Still trying to figure out what color I want that to be. The deal is I don't want this to speak too loudly, so I don't want it to be a crazy color. So I honestly think it's probably going to end up being a gray or a purple, something a little bit pushed back. I've got this green over here. I just don't want it to mix in with either this color or the water. So I gotta make sure it's not too loud. That's okay, Jeremy. I don't expect you to stay for the whole thing in any of these. Let that be for all you. I don't expect any of you guys to stay the whole time. Typically now they just go for 3 hours. But yeah, don't feel like you gotta stay. I mean, I appreciate it regardless. You don't, but you know, you got things to do. I get it. Thing is, Gabe and I nowadays are kind of seeing these as how we're getting paid for Twitch, because a lot of the time we can sell these. So since we're selling them, in a way we got paid to do them, you know? So that's kind of how we justify it now. Gotta figure out what color I want that. I guess that could be yellow too, but this party does not stop, man. Really, Thev? You like it? I try to do this every stream because honestly, I feel like this is a better use of streaming, to see an entire piece kind of be pulled together, like you're saying. It's really hard. Like when I was doing commissions, and it was a commission that I knew was going to take hours and hours and hours, I feel like streaming that is, I don't want to say like useless, but it doesn't give you the full effect, you know? Whereas I feel like if I can do the entire thing during the stream, you're going to get so much more out of that, you know? Like you're saying. Bye, Alex. Have fun with Alex. Enjoy your show. Do you really? Awesome. Yeah, and I hope I'm actually getting to a point where it's like I'm explaining it well. Like hopefully you guys are kind of, I guess, getting what I'm saying. Whoa, bro. So if I'm ever working on one of these and you really, really want it and you know you like it, you can claim it. They'll usually be between 20 and 30 bucks. So if you want one, let me know and I can just set it aside for you and you can PayPal me. Oh, this was for the net. And if these colors end up too bright, later on I can just take a white colored pencil and kind of dull them down. So I can dull this whole area to be pushed back more, which is ideally what I want. So this one might be too pushed back right now. So I think I have to bring it forward a bit, but not too much. And then the goldfish I've actually been reserving the orange for, so let's do that. At least a little bit of orange. Hi Winchesty, what am I drawing? I am drawing a fish city on an ATC. So I did this yesterday, and I want to still watercolor this one too, but I got inspired to do another part of a city and to explain how to do a city, in case you want to know. So that's where we're at right now. I drew it on stream and now I am watercoloring it. Awesome, Z-Sketch. That's awesome, actually. So does anybody actually feel inspired to do a city now? After seeing me do one? I'd love to see other people's cities. See, now since it's so small, if this were a bigger piece, like I said, I could do other kinds of fish and marine life and things like that. But since this is so small, I want to get across where the fish are. So I'm basically making them the same exact fish and the same color. So when you see the color, you're like, oh, another fish. Oh, another fish, you know? Otherwise, there's no guarantee that you'll know where the fish are. You know what I mean? And then I'll take a jelly roll and I will go back over, you know, the parts that need white and some speck highlights, and I'll put them in. But I just started getting into watercolor again this year. Because I just feel like as a fantasy artist, you know, having a lockdown on watercolor in some form is just good. Like, you should have it. It really is a nice thing just to have, because you can do washes and you don't need a ton of skill for it. And I think it can do a lot for your pieces, you know, because you could just watercolor over a pencil sketch and it could look really awesome. Same actually with sci-fi artists. I feel like both, just watercolor in general is good to just have, and you don't need to be a pro at it, you know? You can do a lot with it. Megan, I'm gonna do your octopus arm here in a kind of a red purple, so you can see it, but it's not like called out as much. If any of my devoted dandelions are here and you see one of the ones I'm working on and you want it, I can let you have that one as your monthly one. So you don't, you know, that'll be, like, let's say one of you wanted this one, that'd be your June, you know, so I can just send you that one. No extra pay, nothing. It'll just be part of your dandelion tier. You're right, Serenity, I need to do that. Me too, Robin, thank you. I mean, there are, you know, you can get many levels with it. I mean, really, you know, obviously some people are better than others, but I think the best thing about watercolor is you can do something very effective without knowing too much about it. And then from there on, however much more you learn will only help. But as a beginning medium, I think it works fine. You know, for anybody who's curious about it or wants to try it, watercolor's not scary. You know, just try it. It's pretty forgiving, as long as you're not trying to do certain things, you know. But no, it's a great medium, I think, for any level, really. I want the sun to be over there, so this is going to be cooler than that side. I'm going to add some yellow on the sides, I think, that are hit by the sun. It's a little trite, but I'm okay with it. It really is. Yeah, white pen is wonderful. Shadows always sit in the dark. What's up with that? I'm also a giant. No, I'm kidding. I'm as average in body type, I feel like, as you can get. I'm 5'7", like basic weight and stuff. Like, I am basic human. What the hell was I doing with this? Yeah, these are tiny. They're, you know, card sized. This guy I did on the last stream. I did this too. And then this was... These are still up for grabs too, if anybody enjoys these. And this one... And I'll throw in the link in a minute to these if anybody wants one. Those are all available. Same with these. That one, that water I didn't want to make crazy blue, you know. And there's this one, I really like that water. Simple but effective. This one, I want to do more of my little island chunks soon too. This little guy. Getting some worms. Farm them worms. That. So there's a bunch. No, Thev, don't let them feel hard to you. Honestly, you know what the best way to get into doing watercolor would be? Seriously, just go get a Crayola set. You know, one of those cheap Crayola sets that you can get at like a drugstore even, right? And start with those, because then you're not feeling like you have to do something amazing because it's, you know, really expensive watercolors or anything. Start really simple, and you can honestly do a lot with just basic supplies. You don't need anything special. And then if you find out, hey, I'm really enjoying this, you know, then you can start upgrading, you know, what kinds you use and all that. You don't have to go crazy right now. You know, in fact, we usually say not to, because you're going to be happier if whatever reason it doesn't work out, then you didn't spend a fortune, you know? So start with like kids' watercolors even. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be the best quality or anything, but you're going to figure out if you like working with them, you know, and that's part of knowing if you like it or not. Yeah, and that's great. Cheapest is a good way to go. And unfortunately, my camera isn't going to give you the best representation of the colors in this, but I apologize. I'll have some warmer water here. Remember, shadows are cooler and things in the sunlight are warmer. There we go. Gotta learn to be a lot more bold. That's one of those things I'm working on. Being more bold with my colors so I'm not adding as many layers, and to just go with it. Go with it. Yeah, I'm digging it. You're intimidated? Nah, bust it open right now. Go grab it. Go grab it. All you need is some water and a piece of paper. Doesn't even have to be the best paper in the world. Go grab it. Clover asks this of you. The whole thing is just to start using it, so I highly suggest just grabbing it and start doing it right now. Like, if you're having one of those days where you are scared to death to touch anything creative, just grab it and literally start just making marks on something. Like, go crazy and just start doodling nothing. Just make bullshit on a page. Because that's gonna get your fear of it, like, out the window right away. Okay, I think we're almost to the point. Oh, because those are actually a lot more difficult. For one reason, here, and I'll show you real quick now. See my long hair. Oh, for real, come on. Okay. Alright, so this is that watercolor set I got. This is not the one I'm using right now. But this watercolor set came with 2 aqua brushes. And I assume these are what you're talking about, the water brush. Ideally, these are for travel. So if you're at home and you have access to a water cup, my water cup, funny enough, is a detergent cup. And I use a detergent cup, and it's unused, so there's never been any detergent in it. But if you look at it, it has these divots on either side for pouring out the detergent, right? That actually acts as a very good brush keeper. It literally holds your brush, because you never want your brush to sit in water. Don't leave it sitting in water, because for most brushes like mine, you know, if you let it sit in water for too long, the glue that holds this part on is just going to dissolve. So you want to be able to have it sitting on something at all times, you know? So yeah, this detergent cup has been amazing. And I found that out randomly. But yeah, these are typically just for travel. And it's kind of a pain because you fill it with water, right? And, you know, you use the pigment and then you blop it down, whatever. But then you need to flush it to get a different color. So unless you're not at home, you know, you're going to need to refill this pretty soon again anyway. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, I see them kind of as a bother. I actually have a marker version of this that I use for my water markers. This one's actually, you know, it's a marker tip, felt marker tip, and I use it to actually blend my water markers, and that kind of makes them into watercolors too. So that's kind of fun. But my actual watercolor palette right now looks like this. The one I'm using for this piece. It's kind of a mess. No matter what paint you use, though, it is always smart to make a swatch sheet. You'll have a better time actually like predicting the colors you'll need if you have a swatch sheet. So let me get back to this. Get it back in the frame. Yeah, so don't have it sitting in the water. Yeah, and water brushes, I don't know. The brush tips on them. So typically the best brush tips for watercolor brushes are real hair. A lot of lot of good hair. Gabe would say, I think, sable, pure sable hair. But like on these are typically synthetic, you know, so that's not even the best brush tip you can get. So these in general are really just good for portability, but they're not horrible, you know, but you don't want to do like a masterpiece with them or anything, you know what I mean? I'm gonna need to find my white pen. Hold on. Do you? Well, if you can make it work for you and whatever you want to do, go for it. There are no real rules. You know, there are always going to be things people say are better than other things. But if you can make something work for you that you really enjoy, fuck what other people say. Seriously. If there's something you want to do a certain way and everybody's telling you not to, do it the way you want to do it. This is art. This is the whole reason, you know, you do art is because you want to do something your way. You want to have control of it. And if somebody's telling you, you know, or trying to control what you're doing, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? I mean, that's why we all learn the rules so we can break them, yeah? Yeah. Alright. No rules, rules. It's true, man. It's true. You know, I think I like where this is at. I might just start drawing in stuff. Oh, there's one area I still wanted to get to. But yeah, if you like the water brushes, go for it. Ultimately, whatever you're working on is yours. No one else's. You do what you need to do. The way you want to do it. Art is the only thing in the world you really have complete control over. So if there are any times you're feeling very helpless or weak, or you're not, you know, happy with where something's at in your life, I think this is why people say art is therapy, because you can always come back to art to regain control, you know? So definitely next time you're sad, put that into practice. Buried with love. Okay. I'm gonna make a couple things a little bit more dark. One of my sins is, and I usually say this every stream, but I don't change my brush enough. Like, I always use the same size no matter what part I'm working on. Which, I mean, depending on how you look at it, could be good or bad. Like, I may be foregoing some detail, but at the same time, you know, I'm only getting in what needs to be shown because I can't get detailed. You know? So depending on how you look at it. I mean, with a lot of watercolor brushes too, they usually do have somewhat of a detailed tip. So you can still get there, you know? But you have to kind of be cognizant of where it's at right now and, you know, how much pigment it's got and all that. That might actually be too dark right there. Pick that up. Now I'm trying to look over this and see if there's anything else I want to do before I start putting in highlights. So this is kind of my last chance. So once I start putting in highlights and things, I'm not going to be able to do color washes or anything like that. So now is the time. Right? Serenity, I am surrounded by brushes right now. I feel so dumb. And I always, honestly, this is my favorite. This is the one I always come back to. And what's weird is I have so many other brushes. So many. And none of them seem to be this size. It's like this perfect in-between size. And I don't know. I mean, I guess if I had another one that was kind of similar size to this one, I'd be more apt to use it, but I'm telling you, I don't really have anything that's similar to this. It's really weird. Now I'm gonna put in some texture. So I want some variation here. I'm gonna start blotting some crap in. Just to get that variation. And you don't really want to do this once, you know, you get further back, just because then all these dots that are about this size, you know, if you see these dots this size back there, it's going to be kind of like disorienting, because, you know, you're like, well, wait a minute, this is supposed to be further in the distance. Why are these textures still the same size? You know, so that's part of consistency. You want to make sure that, you know, things that are big where they are and further in the, you know, in the distance or smaller, that you stick to that. So I mean, I can do it, but they have to be teeny. It's a lot of ambience sounds here. Right? I don't even know where I got this damn brush. Okay. Serenity, you hounding me about process picks is really helping me remember each time. So, here we go. Alright, phone, just chill out. So if anybody wants to see more of my process on my normal work, my more intricate work, my $3 tier on Patreon will give you that access. I'll show you process GIFs, and you can, you know, be brought into my mind, which I don't know if you want to do that, but the option's there. And that is on my Patreon. I'm pretty proud of my Patreon. I have something kind of for everybody, and it's really fun. I have some things that, honestly, I'm jealous of my patrons that they get, because I kind of wish I could subscribe to somebody that was providing one or two of the things I am. So, hopefully that's not egotistical. I'm just absolutely serious that I wish there was something that I could do that was similar to it that my patrons have. Oh, there you go, Serenity. You know where I'm coming from. So I think the other big part of this is that there are going to be little wakes that the fish are causing. And I'm toning that down as I'm pulling it, because I don't want it to be speck heavy. Because honestly, the speck highlights come right as the shadow ends. I come from a water heavy home state. Like, my home state has a ton of water in it. And we used to go boating a lot. So every time we'd come out of the channel, the sun would hit the water and there'd be just a ton of speck highlights. And those kind of things stay with you. So I feel like it helps me right now to know that. There's also a shadow that's like along the side of this. So I don't want to exactly put the speck highlights up to this because they'll, you know, they wouldn't be there. So hopefully I've kind of helped you guys get over your fear of drawing cities. Because I know a lot of people are scared about it and think if they do it, it has to be, you know, exactly correct with, you know, perspective and everything. It doesn't, you know. It's more fun to just doodle a city. If you've never doodled a city, I highly suggest trying it. Just doodle it. Like, you know, however you kind of see it, whatever kind of angle, just try going for it. Because as soon as you can kind of free yourself from fears like that, your art's going to start improving immediately. Because it's fear that holds people back from actually making progress like this, you know? So every piece you do is going to get you points to the future pieces, right? You're going to learn things. What to do, what not to do. That's the whole point of trying stuff. The only way you're going to do that is by doing it. I also need my big paint pen, which I don't even know. I have one of them. This thing is scary. This is one of those paint pens that can go everywhere. This one I like to use for splash. Is anybody doing anything fun this weekend? Does work count? If work's fun, yeah, definitely. If you got a fun job, hell yeah, dude. That's great. I want to show that it's rounding the corner here too. Gotta be a little bit bold further down the line here to show that, yeah, this is still water. And these are bubbles. Gotta show that. I'll do that with the smaller one. Let me see if I can fix the color on this. This is a little closer actually to what it looks like. got a little bit of the there you go. Mondial? What's Mondial? And this is still water, and it still has some shine to it, but it's not going to be as much as what's not under the bridge. So I'm going to show that the water continues under there, but it's going to be a lot more subdued, you know? Same on this side. This is still the water. I want to make sure it still looks like water, but it's pushed back, you know? Oh, French. Oh, okay. Yeah, the whole world situation is very tender. Very, very tender. So has any of this helped at all, really? Do you guys enjoy kind of being led through this process? So I'll try to kind of plan things like this in the future then too, if it is helping. Let's see, sharpen this. Oh, sorry, that might have been loud. Yeah, this is just a pastel pencil. It was actually, I was trying to push this back more, but then I realized that this is actually kind of how pushed back I want it to be in terms of its saturation, I guess. Hold on, I gotta fix this camera. I know, so you guys couldn't see everything I could see. This might actually be too rough, but... Peer pressure. You made me laugh, choke on my own spit, Dennis. I'm trying. I mean, you know, when you decide to stream or have some sort of public platform, you gotta do something with it, you know? Gotta entertain or encourage or what have you. I'm trying to do whatever I can. Being a better human is always a nice side effect, I think. If that happens. You know, I know I put hats on these fish, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Can't see them, so I'm gonna turn it into little scales. And this is just a colored pencil too. I'm just kind of bringing it in here. I forgot this tiny corner up here. I'm so glad it's cozy. Oh, oh, Dennis. You're important too, though. This year, we have a lot of things. I am scared to death of July. I'm gonna be honest. July is scary to me because I feel like the entire year so far is just leading up to July. I feel like August, things will start settling down again, things will get figured out, maybe the protests will finally win, you know, what they're trying to do, all that sort of stuff. But, like, July, just the fact that it's, you know, Independence Day, and no one wants to celebrate America. Like, oh man, it's gonna be a thing. Like, I'm scared of something else blowing up. And maybe something literally blowing up. It's gonna be nuts. Well, yeah, okay. Thanks, Dennis. Oh, that's too blurry. It's weird because it's extra sharp on the screen, but on here it's a lot softer and doesn't look as grainy as the screen shows it. But you know what I mean, Dennis? You know what I mean. No, you're not annoying, Thev. Say what you want to say. It's not annoying at all. I've had annoying people in here. You're not annoying. Sometimes I don't want to use ink either. Like, in terms of this one, I felt like it was better to keep it soft. So the line work is with the pencil to keep it soft. Yeah, this year every month has gone up a notch. That's why I'm scared. Like, every month seems to be like, oh, you thought last month was bad, check this out. And then the next month, yeah, you like that? Okay, here's the next month. And it's insane. Because I also think, in general, with cities, regarding drawing cities, that, you know, a city that's almost drawn wrong is almost more interesting than a city that's drawn completely, you know, accurately. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody draws a city that's kind of a weird perspective and it wouldn't really happen in real life, I find that I'm more captivated by those than somebody who'd make up a city that's not real, that looks real, and it's just like, okay, cool, so it's kind of real. It's like, I don't know, for those that know me, I find hyper-realism and just realism in general pretty boring. Yeah, if you can do it, technical skills, cool, awesome, but where's the imagination, you know? If you're just redrawing something that's either been drawn or been photographed, yeah, you can take certain liberties with angle and lighting and all that, but if somebody's just redrawing that, it's like, oh man, where are you in this? You know, where's your input? But like I said, that's my opinion. I personally get nothing out of it. I feel like technical drawing, you know, drawing hyperrealism and realism in general, you can get that if you just grind at it really hard. Like, anybody who's even not good at drawing can get good at drawing that. But when it comes to drawing from your brain, from your imagination, I hold that into a much higher regard, because that is actual training. You know, you gotta really look at things differently and be able to think of ideas on the spot when prompted and be good on your toes, all that kind of stuff. I think that to me is more interesting. Not to say that people that, you know, do the other stuff are any less skilled or whatever, but personally, my thoughts are that if you can, you know, bring something into existence that didn't before, you're adding to the world. If you're just drawing something that exists, you're just reflecting what's there. Why not bring something new in? Manifest something new. You're an artist. Make something, you know? A Godzilla. Honestly, it's up to you which you think is more important, but I feel like it's more important to start with imagination, honestly, because imagination is going to give you the passion to actually dig into your technical side, in my opinion. I feel like if you always have passion for drawing, you know, you'll want to get better technically, whatever that may be. But if you start technically, you know, and you might burn out pretty quick. You know, because it's all science and it's all kind of dry, and I feel like as an artist you need to express yourself, so in doing so, you know, you need to find that flame and find what part of yourself that you want to project into the world. You know, what do you want to give the world in regards to your art? Because you're allowed as an artist, you know, whatever type of artist you are, to give something that you see inside of you to everybody else. So what do you choose that to be? Maybe. I mean, technique can be kind of whatever you think it is. I mean, do you mean technique as style, or do you mean technique just as, like, traditional schooling, sort of? Like, what do you see it as? Because we might be using technique differently. That's another thing. Art is so all over the place with terminology. One person could say style and mean technique, and vice versa. It could be all over the place. So it's good to actually figure out what you're both saying, I guess. Because really, like, let's say you study anatomy for 20 years, right? Let's say that you're doing that. But let's also say you never liked doing anatomy. Is your anatomy going to be missing something because you never actually wanted to do it? Hell yeah. You didn't want to do it. Your heart wasn't in it. So while your technique may be good, you may never have the, you know, the gumption to go actually apply it to something that mattered to you. You know? Whereas I feel like if you start with imagination, you figure out what you want to get better at. Technique-wise, I guess. If that makes any sense. The way the center column in your drawing is parallel to the side of your page. So there's the whole thing. Oh yeah, that wasn't even on purpose. In all honesty, the stream started out. So in terms of this, I was teaching how to do a cityscape without using a ruler, and to just do a city without having any fear. To just do it for the sake of doing it, right? So the one I used as an example, when I started the stream, I showed everybody, okay, here's the reference I'm loosely going to be referencing. Or here's the, you know, the piece of art. And typically I wouldn't say to use someone's already existing art piece as reference, at least not like 100% to a T, right? So you're gonna see this and you're gonna be like, holy shit. But remember, mine's 2 by 3 inches. See, I don't think that's technique. Technique is like how you draw a line versus how someone else draws a line. Technique, I think, in the way you're using it is more actual, like, schooling correct perspective and things. I think you're thinking about the science of it. At least that's what I'm understanding. Like, technique is how I'm drawing the water right now. How I'm doing something. Not necessarily what it is or you know, why it's that way. But how I'm doing it. Okay. Just making sure. Language barriers are always tough too. But I do always feel like passion should come first. And then studying and technique comes later. Because then you'll figure out what you want to do. Because like I said, you could, you know, not even care about anatomy, have been studying it for 20 years, doesn't do anything for you. Especially if you're me and you end up drawing animals anyway. So it's like, well, whatever. I mean, it does, you know, you want to justify it to yourself and be like, well, what did that do for me? What did I get out of that? And, you know, you'll figure out a reason. So I can, you know, I can use all the anatomy I've learned with my animals because a lot of them end up bipedal. So it's not wasted. But at the same time, I just didn't care about it. So, you know, study what you care about, what you're passionate about. It's like we said earlier, there are no rules to this. And because there are no rules, you can take advantage of that. Hell, you could not know how to draw and just start drawing without even, like, looking at a drawing book or any instructions on how to draw, and you could get famous just because you drew something that people thought was cool. You may not know jack about art. Similar to somebody who, let's say, is a musician, right? Or isn't one and decides to write a song, and because they're just like, man, I just want to write this. And they go viral for that one song, but really they don't know anything about music. They just pulled up Pro Tools and started going ham on it. You know, you can have that. That happens. I'm not saying it's something that's easily attainable by any means, but it happens. Alright, so I'm gonna put this on my website when I'm done with it. If anybody wants it, international or otherwise, I ship either way. Shipping is free too, internationally, for this, by the way. For any of my ATCs, if any of you guys are overseas and you want one of these, yeah, I don't charge shipping for these because it goes in an envelope. So it's basically $1 for me to ship it to you, which is really nice. So if anybody wants them, no matter who or where you are, go for it. Bye, Jeremy. Enjoy your stream. Ah, Serenity, you've gotten a lot better, though. Basically. If I understand you right. I'm also dialing back detail the further back you get in this piece. So if I didn't if I was drawing everything down here as detailed as I am up here, it would be really disjointed. Because, you know, you would see as much up down here as you do up here, and it would really steal your eye, you know? So it's pretty important that you make sure to dial your details so people know where to look. You have the power to lead people's eyes around your work, so make sure you're using that in the right way. Now I'm using some white gouache, kind of push back this back one. Push it back even more. Might even punch up the saturation on this front part. I know I said you can't do this, and basically you can't, but I'm trying it anyway. It's not a good idea because I can undo a lot of what I've done, but screw it. Sometimes you have to have that attitude too. Screw it. And just go for something. If you have a good feeling about it, just jump. Trying to bring these fish back. These goldfish. Highlights and see. I don't know, lights and see. I think that's I like understanding things by giving them analogies. So I see what you said as, I'm a musician, I really like, you know, techno, I really want to remake techno, like in a certain way. For me, if, like when I'm doing art, I typically don't want to recreate exactly what I see. Like I feel like if I were a musician, I wouldn't be recreating the music I like. I feel like my music would probably be different than what I would want to listen to. So even though you like that, I guess you could break down what it is you like about it, and maybe it's not the look of it at all, maybe it's just the lighting, or maybe it's the composition. You know, maybe there's something deeper. So are you talking about, like, break it down more. Do you like their use of color? Do you like their lighting? Do you like how they compose things? Do they just do landscapes? Like, what is it you like about what they do? Did they do the concept work for Lord of the Rings? And then find out why, you know, it bores you. Asking yourself a lot of questions really can help you understand what you like and don't like about things. I know it sounds stupid, but, you know, why do I like this thing? You know, a lot of the time that'll help you in your own journey, because you can pull things out of that, you know. And then, you know, you mentioned Lord of the Rings bores you. Why? What is it about it that bores you? And, you know, then you whittle things down that way too. Figuring out what you do and don't like. It's a big step in realizing your artistic identity. As well as your style, really. Those sorts of questions and answers are going to define your style. Go for it. It's kind of appropriate. This song has water sounds to it. It's kind of funny. Working out a piece. I have the lines down, the underdrawing. It's sealed on the board. Underpainting and painting. I'm terrified, but the piece itself is definitely me. Sci-fi, hint of Mad Max, inspired by a song I like, but I'm paralyzed by the oils. Well, why are you using oils if you don't like them? Yeah, I'm with Serenity. How often do you do oil? Because if you do it enough, you shouldn't be scared by it. You should just be able to throw down. Also, how big is it? Because I'm gonna tell you, it should probably be pretty small, seeing as you're still this apprehensive and hesitant of it. I feel like if it was small, you wouldn't feel like you have as much to lose. So I'm guessing it's big. Okay. I would just do what I'm doing now. Do a small version of it. This is 2 by 3 inches. This would give you a good study, proof of concept, usually as it's called, for the bigger piece. Yeah, 18 by 24 is pretty big. You've been here before when I've said to start small and work your way bigger. This is a perfect example why. You want to start, maybe do that on a 4 by 6 or a 6 by 9. Do it that small first. You're going to be half to even less scared to do that. Like, seriously, you'll be like so just relieved at it being that size. I mean, what you're talking about is like you're carving into a giant tree. You want to make this giant bear out of this tree trunk you've got, right? But you've never carved anything in your life. Doesn't that sound kind of far-fetched? Wouldn't it be easier to carve a bear that's small, like a chess piece size first, and then work your way up after you know how to carve? So it's the exact same thing. So I would, if you're still proud of this piece, transfer the idea to something small, like a 4 by 6. Honestly, a 4 by 6. I would really try that first. And then do that and see how you feel about it. Because let's say you like the idea, and then you try it, and let's say you actually hate it once you finish it, and you're like, man, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to, and maybe you don't even want to do it anymore at all. Think about the time you spent on the 4 by 6 versus if you had the exact same feeling after finishing the 18 by 24. Think of how much the time difference is. And this is why a lot of artists will do proof of concepts or thumbnails before they actually do a big piece. So like in this case, I actually ended up liking this a lot. I didn't know if I would or not. Honestly, I like it a lot more than this piece, right? And because of that, I might even do a bigger version, which means I can add more clarity to all these ideas that are here, these little bubble apartments, these pipes that are here, these waterways and propulsions and these bridges and things like that. Like, this has an element of everything I would want to put in a bigger piece. So I would definitely start smaller on things that, you know, are more personal to you. Yeah, see, when it comes to personal work versus doing something for someone else, honestly, I feel like we go back and forth, and you may have had a good grip of that one at the time, but, you know, when it comes to your own stuff, I feel like it's harder for us to let ourselves down. You may like the big epic pieces, but you have to earn those. You have to work up to those. You're not going to make something epic until you become epic, right? You need to do the 10,000 hours. It's very rare that you're going to be the type to actually pump out something epic when you're not doing it often. You know? Like, that's pretty rare. That's like prodigy level stuff. Does that make sense? Like, everybody wants to make something epic, but I feel like not everybody wants to put in the work to get to that epic thing. Similar to writers who want to make that big novel or that big series of novels. Is it pretty realistic that they'd be able to do that if they never write? No. And honestly, if they never write and they made this giant series of books, wouldn't the books probably suck? Because they never write, so they don't know how many mistakes they're making? You know, that sort of thing? So there you go, and figure out why you struggled. Was it the size of the brush? Was it because it was oils? I hate to break it to you, but you can get the look of oils using other mediums that are easier. You know, oils, I feel like oils are almost a bragging medium. You know, I feel like the times I've been exposed to the high art side of things and the fine art side of things, people have really driven home when they've used oils, and I almost feel like it's in terms of bragging. And a lot of the time, I've seen people be able to replicate the look of oils by means of other mediums, you know? So maybe even have oils take a back seat if you want, and experiment with other mediums. Maybe oils aren't even the one you like deep down. Maybe you just need to work with more, and then you find one, you're like, oh my god, where has this been my whole life? You know? And I don't know what it would be. I mean, that's for you to find out. But this is the whole point of experimenting. You know, you don't want to stick with oils. Let's say it's like a bad relationship. Like, if you're in a bad relationship, but it's the only relationship you've had and you think it's good, and you stay there, you know, what if there is that better relationship out there? You know this one isn't the best, and you're kind of disappointed with it, and there's no real reason you're sticking around. Maybe, you know, a better one is out there for you. Those kind of things. Yeah, so, I mean, I really encourage artists a lot of the time to just play. Pick up a medium and play with it. And if you play together well, maybe you keep pursuing that medium, and maybe it becomes your main medium. My main medium is markers, you guys. Markers. Like, what? Do you think 10 years ago I was like, yeah, someday markers? No, dude. No, that is not what happened to me. There's one day I was like, I want to pick up markers and, you know, try to get proficient with them. But I never thought it would take over and markers would be like my main medium. But all of my commissions are in marker. Like, what? I didn't see that coming, but I wouldn't have found out unless I took that little jump, you know? So it's important to still play. Especially as an artist, it's important to play. Please, for my sake, do me a favor. Do a small piece. Do a very small piece. And then, you know, analyze how you felt about it. You know, where were your feelings the whole time? Were you excited to do a lot of the parts of it? Did it come easier for you? You know, those are the kind of things you want to be aware of, because, you know, going forward for a little while, you might want to do some small pieces until you gain back your confidence, build momentum, and then level up and get a bigger piece, and then try that, or try a different medium. But I would highly suggest every time that you attempt a new medium, you know, use something small. Do it on something small. Because then you're not wasting as much time. You're seeing how you do with it on the space you've been allotted, you know? And like I said, the main part is that you're not wasting a ton of time. You know, you're figuring out early on if you like it. And then, you know, if you do like it, you can, you know, tell it, hey, you know, I want to get serious. Let's go steady, you know? And then give it the time of day. And then you can do the 18 by 24. That's like a marriage proposal, you know? That sort of thing. Like, it's a commitment, because you're going to spend hours and hours with that size of that thing. That is an absolute commitment. So you want to make sure that the medium you chose is the one you mean to use. If tacos is your favorite food, why do you eat sandwiches? Aren't tacos sandwiches? Didn't we talk about this? Why do I do watercolor? Because I like to experiment. And this is why I was talking about it's good to play. So I'm playing right now. I don't see this as something serious. Eventually, I might, you know, switch over to markers. Watercolor as my main medium, you know, once I get proficient in it. But for a time, I sat down, I got good with markers every day, and I got so confident with them that I started offering them as, you know, how I did my commissions. So if you want a good example, I'll show you. But I've gotten so used to streaming that even if I've never used a medium before or something I'm gonna do on stream, I think it's fun. Like, I think it's fun to show people when I fail. I think it's educational. I think everybody should have the confidence to try something and fail. I think that's very natural. You know, so I highly suggest people do it, try it, you know. Here. Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like, so scroll down on that link. Regarding the 10,000 hours, I feel like once you've gotten to a point with 10,000 hours on something, you know, you can put it towards other things. You know, and I don't consider myself a master. I don't even know if I've gotten to 10,000 hours. Let's be honest. I have no idea. But the point is that all I can ever see myself doing is art. So why wouldn't I try everything? You know? Like, I'm going to try as many things as I can. Honestly, I still haven't tried oils, admittedly. Because to me, they seem like the biggest dump of time and money. Just because they're so messy. Everybody says they're fun to use, but man, it feels like just setting up to use oil is just a whole process in itself, and I'm not about that. I want to be able to pick up a medium and go immediately, right? So watercolor, marker, ink, those are way more my style. Yeah, right, Bev? Like, you've seen me do crap on these. Like, I even started on this one. Like, this was supposed to be the card I was doing today, and I was like, you know, I'm feeling this pretty hard, but I don't want to do it on this, so I redrew it on this, and look what happened. You know, so really, you gotta learn to go with your gut, because typically that's correct, and I feel like as an artist, being able to listen to that side of yourself is extremely important. And, you know, you can educate yourself on the daily just with how you learn about yourself. You don't even need to do any sort of research or anything. Just learning what you do and don't want to do and what you like and don't like, that's progress. Yeah, man. Like, I would only probably get into oils seriously if if somebody had a bunch set up already and I played with them for a couple hours, and if I was really digging it, then I'd maybe get a cheap set of them and pursue it a little bit. But right now, I get the look I want out of the stuff I do. So I'm cool with that. You know, I'm cool with how that is now. Oh, have I, Thev? Yeah, and see, you saying even acrylic oils, I don't even know what that means. Is that just the water-based oil? It took me forever to figure out what the difference was between, was it acrylic gouache and just regular gouache. It took me forever to figure that out. Yeah, water-based I've heard is a lot better. But even so, I feel like that itself is, you know, a time sink of, well, I gotta set this up, I gotta mix the things, I gotta do this stuff. Like, I don't know. For me, that's a lot of just pain. You know? I have very low patience. Like, I'm not a very patient person. I want things done now. I'm stubborn. I want them the way I want them. But that also, those bad things that are typically icky traits, I think help make me a good artist. Because those same traits help me to move on from something that isn't working in a piece. You know, it helps me to make art on a stream completely, you know, in one go. Like, that's cool to me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just watercolor this other one real quick too. Why the hell not, right? Let's go. And it's helped me to be brave. You know, I'm not scared of really anything anymore when it comes to art. And doing it in front of people. I don't care. I'm not afraid of it. If I fuck up, I fuck up. It's just, that's art. It has the ability to do that at any point, you know? So I feel like just knowing that kind of frees you. Alright, so this is going to have a completely different look than this one, because this one was lined with colored pencil, and this one is obviously, you know, ink. So let's do it. See how it goes. You know, maybe it'd be good for some of you to draw or paint in front of people. It really does help you get a lot more brave quickly and be able to admit, you know, mistakes, and it's okay, and deal with them quicker. Because, you know, if you're on stream, you screw up, you screw up and you move on. Like, what choice do you got? Not markers on this one, Thev. No, I'm gonna do more watercolor. If you want me to do markers, I can. I'm gonna do it on the tone paper, though. I don't like markers on white paper. It's not fun for me at all. Unless it's grayscale. Yep. Serenity's heard me say this enough. Never use markers on watercolor paper, friends. Your money will be gone. It will destroy and kill them. But yeah, would you rather see me use marker or watercolor right now? Because if you want marker, I'll have to switch over to a different, like I'll have to draw something new, which is fine. I could draw something new. Serenity, are you referring to the using marker on watercolor? Oh, I'm interested in everything. Well, I was gonna say, if I was doing marker, I could switch over to this one. If you guys want to see something on toned paper. Like I said, it's totally up to you. I don't care. Like, this time on stream, I've totally allotted for you guys. So I am at the whim of you. So whatever you want to see, whatever you want me to do, I'm here for it. And I think that makes it kind of fun too, because then I never know what I'm doing, and I kind of like that. I like the challenge of being thrown into something else. So like if I got on stream sometime and you guys were like, okay, I want markers on toned with only these colors, I'd be like, cool, let's go. Oh, you guys are cute. Yeah, I'm interested in basically everything. Like, if I had oils prepared next to me right now that I've never used in my life, I'd try them. Just so you can see me, you know, go through whatever I'm gonna go through. It's just, I know everything can be done again. So if you fail on something, or you think you fail, you perceive it as failure, you can do it again. Why can't you? Just do it again. You know, like, I just don't understand when people are just so scared to do something or to fail at something. It's like, it's okay. If it fails, just do it again. Do it again until you like it. You know? Why wouldn't you? No, I'm serious. I can stop at any time and do whatever you guys are thinking. I'm fine with whatever. You love the watercolor? You want to see the end now? Alright. I'll wait. Wait till next time. You gotta know how the book ends. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now this is gonna be gray right now, but I'm gonna add some purple and stuff to it so it at least gets rounded out a bit more. So the difference between this one and the one we were doing earlier is that because this one is ink, I'm not expected to do as much color as the one on the left. Honestly, and this is why I was talking to you earlier about Thev, if you wanted to just do a piece and add just a wash of watercolor like this, like the parts I've already done, that could technically be done. Like right now. Like a lot of storybook things are just a wash of watercolor, like old Beatrix Potter stuff, Peter Rabbit. It's just ink with a wash of watercolor over it. There isn't really any depth in terms of, you know, different colors and things like that. It's just, it's what it is. It's just a wash of watercolor. It's not impressive or crazy. It's just to give you a hint of what's there, you know? So if you wanted to even do that and just practice watercolor like that, go for it, you know? Oh yeah. Well, I have technically, I've technically illustrated my own books. And I continue to try to, because I've got a bunch of kids' books I've got written. I just need to literally buy myself the time to illustrate them, because illustrating takes a lot of time, and if, you know, the only money coming in is the money that I'm making from drawing, that means that my time is, you know, being taken by me by other projects and people. So until I can get to a point, and this is why I plug my Patreon so much, because if I can get my Patreon to the point where I'm basically paying for rent every month, then that technically buys me the time that I would otherwise be working for other people to work on my own stories. And I've got about 3 that are ready to roll. I've got probably 2 other ones that need to be written, but the ones that are written just need to be illustrated. But, like I said, it takes a lot of time to do that, and I need to buy the time, like buy back my own time from myself to be able to do that. So it's a long process, and it'll probably be a while until I get to that point, but yeah. No, I have a few in the, what would you call that? Cocked and ready, we'll say. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, Thev. Actually, Thev, you want me to give you some homework? I gave Lights and Sea some homework. Thev, your homework is to draw something with pen, and to take those watercolors you've got, and to just do a light wash of different colors on each thing that you want to. And just see how far that takes your drawing on its own. You'd be surprised. The next Saturday, I want you to come back and tell me how it went. Same goes for you, Lights and Sea. I want you to do the smaller piece and get back to me on it. Also, for anybody who's in our Discord, tomorrow I'll be putting up the new prompt, and I wonder if you can guess what it's gonna be. I'm gonna task everybody with drawing a city, and I want it to be small. I want you to do it small, and I want you to have fun with it. And I don't want you to break out a ruler. I don't want you to do any crap like that. But just draw a city. It sounds so scary when you say it, but it's not that bad. Not that bad. Oh, bye, Robin. Thanks for coming. Oh, if you hear slurping, that's my dog. Your cup boat bathtub thing. What does that mean? Did you start something? Start something new. Forget whatever that is. Do something new. I'm trying to think of what color I want this to be. I think I want it yellow. Sometimes it's better also to start something new than to go back and try to rework something you've done too. And this is unrelated to what that was saying, but like in general, if, you know, when people ask me, hey, do you ever do one of those redraws of your old art? I'm always like, no, man. Like, I want to make something new. I don't want to make something I've done before, you know? And I kind of stand by that. I think anything I've done that I haven't already tried to redo or have no plans to, it just means I've kind of fallen out of love with it. You know, I'd rather do something new. And I think sometimes when you've done something, you've kind of learned all you could from it. You know, if you do it again, it's basically, you know, the same thing again, just with what you've already learned to this point. Like, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't get much out of it. And maybe that's just my mental state of, you know, backtracking. I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to video games, if it's a video game that requires backtracking, I'm usually not a fan. Like, Metroid drives me nuts. Any Metroid game where I gotta backtrack, it drives me nuts. The only backtracking game I'm okay with is Mega Man. Like, I'm cool with that. I can do that. Just because there's good reason for it normally, but some reason, I don't know what it is. Can't do it with Metroid. Oh, you started it today? Yeah, there you go. If that applies to the homework I've given you, then yeah, go for it. I know I kind of sound like a neo-hippie when I'm like, yeah, go with what you feel and blah blah blah, but it's kind of true. I mean, really it is. Because you'd be surprised how many artists do art and don't even know, like, themselves when it comes to their art. It's really kind of crazy. A lot of people have no idea what they like to do, but they do a lot of art. It's super weird. Yeah, so a lot of the time since I'm doing, you know, I said markers as my main medium, a lot of the time I'm not doing marker on my streams because I'm doing it all the other time. Like, I'm not here to impress anyone, you know, so, I mean, if I were, I'd be doing my markers on stream because I'm used to them, I know them, you know, and that's why earlier when you guys were like, markers, I was like, oh yeah, you want markers? Okay. But I think it's better for me to use this time, as it's the only time during the day, during the week, I can really set aside to learn and to relax at the same time. So I figured, well, why not let people watch me do that? And I'll kind of fail as I go and learn as I go and tell you what I learn as I learn it. Because that feels kind of educational to me, at least. Like, you know, maybe I'm making the mistakes so you don't have to, you know. That's good, Dev. That's really good. And you forever will be. The point is to not stop exploring what you can be. So, I'm going to be honest, if I follow anybody on Instagram and they just start doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, I get bored. I get so damn bored. And typically I'll unfollow them. Even if I still like their style and such, if they just don't grow and they don't try other things, I get bored. So I typically unfollow them. And I've done that with some bigger artists in the past because it's just, I'm bored, man. I want to see what else you can do, you know, and I want to see them grow. But if they figure out, and this is a problem in my opinion with a lot of Instagram artists, if they figure out what people like and, you know, what they can do to win every time, then to me that's not what art's about. You've lost kind of the spirit of art if that's all you're caring about, you know? Because then your art becomes a formula, and then, you know, you just keep kind of repeating that again and again, and, you know, who's that good for? I mean, it's good for making money because you're a business now, but in terms of the spirit of art, what is that going to do? You know? So I would rather look at someone's page and see them kind of evolving and finding a style, and if they stick with that for a while, that's cool. I'm in favor of that. But if it's years and years and years and, you know, they just don't evolve, I don't know, it's a little bit tragic, really. There you go. There you go, Thev. And Serenity, I mean, you know, that's okay too. I feel like it's good once in a while to stick with something for a little bit, you know, get proficient with it, and then, you know, move on. And this is having to do with the focus we were talking about earlier. It's good to focus for a bit, but it's also good to break that focus and you know, experiment. Just too much of anything is bad, you know? So as long as you're breaking it up with maybe a series here and there, or, you know, just trying a new medium, things like that, just keep it fresh. And I think once you start learning, you know, the royal you, not just you, Serenity, but once people start learning about what they, you know, like to do and what they like to use, they'll know when they become stagnant. They'll know when, okay, this is too easy now, you know, I should try something else. You feel it. I feel like you feel it. And the bad thing is when the fear creeps in, like let's say you've developed a following, right? And you're scared to try something new because you're afraid you're going to lose followers. And that's a very real fear a lot of people have. You can't let that stop you from progressing. Because with every iteration of who you become, you have the potential to lose people who have followed you. You know? And that's okay. Sometimes you might even want to make another account or another brand for it. If you do see yourself doing both, you know, you might just want to branch out and create something that's like alter ego you. You know, if you're going to do both. Like some people have this with porn accounts, honestly. You'll have somebody who does, you know, NSFW stuff, but then they'll have an account that's very safe, you know? And that's up to you. It's up to you and whatever you see for your journey. That might be a mindset. I mean, is it, like a lot of the time if something is that consistently bad, I think you have to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Like, are you at a place in your life where you're not happy with other things? Or is it just your art? You know, I think sometimes people, you know, you'll sit down to do it and you just can't because you're pissed off or something. And, you know, it might not have to do with your art at all. Because a lot of the time your ability to focus, your creativity is all tied to your mood or, you know, external factors. And it's like once you fix those external factors, you know, your art will become more clear because once again you'll be able to read yourself. You'll be able to express yourself more genuinely because you'll understand what was wrong, you know. Well, I don't think you should be discouraged with how many things you try, but I think the discouraging comes with how many things you're focusing on at once, you know. So I would never discourage trying a bunch of things. I would discourage what you're, you know, currently trying all at once. Because yeah, that could get a little rough. Just focus on something for a bit, see how it feels, go with it for a time, you know, dump it when it gets stale, that sort of thing. Because just like relationships and all that sort of thing, you're going to progress, you're going to change, you're going to be someone different in a couple years than you were. I mean, you're someone different now than you were a couple years ago, right? Right? For the most part. So, you know, your work's going to change, your interests are going to change. 10 years ago, I used to be just sci-fi. I bet none of you really knew that. Just sci-fi. I would only draw robots, spaceships, things like that. No one believes me now when I tell them that. But I mean, it's one of those things. You will evolve, you will change. The only constant is change, so you can depend on that. But it all matters with how you take it in stride and how you deal with it and, you know, apply it to your life now. Yeah, you can't talk to a lot of parents, honestly, unless they are an artist about art. They don't get it. I would like to raise money to get a new, really nice camera. Like a DSLR or something, because, man, these other cameras just do not capture paint like I want them to. Yeah, see, and I mean, Serenity, you've even changed in the time we've known you. I think you were doing those things when we found you, or when you found us, rather. How loud is that for you guys? Can you hear Gabe in the background? Is that really loud? So like me getting better at watercolor is, you know, during Twitch streams typically. Because I don't know, I like to kind of multitask too, but I am at least focused on my markers when I'm doing my, you know, my commissions. So you can take breaks and use different things, you know. Okay, if it gets annoying, tell me, because I think he doesn't realize it can be loud. Because it's loud for me. So if it gets loud for you guys, let me know. That's smart though, Lights and Sea. That's gonna be a good list. Yeah, and I was digital too. God, I wish I have an old blog that has a lot of my old art on it, and I wanted to make it public again, but I don't know what all's on it. I have to look through it. But I was just looking at it the other day, and yeah, I thought the only way to be an artist online was to do digital work. And it's funny because I had been, you know, traditional up until a point. Then I went into the game industry and I was doing digital every day. So I was like, well, you know, maybe this is just how you do it now. You know, everything's digital. But eventually I learned to go with my gut, which you should always do. And, you know, traditional was just more me. So here we are. Plus, traditional skills do translate to digital, not usually the other way around. You'll be hard pressed to get digital skills to actually translate to traditional. Oh, Bruni, what do you think he's doing? Our dog cries when it's dinner time. It's like, we know. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. Yeah, they've been fun. Honestly, they've been a lot of fun for me to do. And this is also what I was talking about. So through these ATCs, if you look at, and I'm not trying to sell these again or anything, but if you go here and go to the bottom, look at the ones I've sold. That's just a good, like, breadth of when I'm trying things. Because these are so small, you can really try whatever you want on them. And, you know, again, here's architecture. Here's a still life that doesn't exist. Here's a little vehicle, sort of. Character. I'm still on this isometric chunk kick. Like, I am still loving these, and I'm gonna keep doing them for a while because they are so relaxing, and I love them, and I just started them like a month or so ago. But they're fun, you know? And just whatever you feel like doing at the time, go with it, you know? It does kind of suck because the age we live in, being on Instagram really rewards people for doing the same thing again and again and again, which really sucks because in essence that is really, you know, discouraging people from trying new things and, you know, posting their failures and all that sort of stuff. It's the sort of thing where the things that are popular are typically, again, not what you want to be, you know, doing. Because it's just, it goes against really the grain of being an artist and being able to experiment freely and stuff. You feel guilt, right? If you experiment when you know something's not gonna, you know, hit as well, or you think it's not gonna hit as well as your normal stuff. So I've gotten to the point I just post whatever I feel like, you know, because it's like, well, I got on a kick with this. I want to post something. This is what I did. If they like it, cool. If they don't, cool. And you just do it anyway. Because, I mean, what choice do you have? Are you going to hide something you were trying that you're proud of? No. Am I going to not post something that I'm not proud of? No. I'm going to post it anyway. Like, you know, there are reasons to do these things. It's just good to get used to posting anyway, because honestly, it doesn't matter. What you think about your art does not matter. It doesn't. Nobody cares, right? If it goes up, you know, the people that see it are going to make their own assumptions about it. They're going to have their own feelings about it. What you feel about it doesn't matter. If somebody likes something, they like it. So when I realized that, I started just posting everything regardless of how I felt about it, because I would find out, oh, these people like it, even though I didn't. But I don't need to tell them that because they like it. And I can't change how somebody feels about something, you know? It's pretty eye-opening, man. Oh, cool. Aeromat. Yes! Gabe! Have you seen these converted cigarette machines that sell, like, art and stuff? Yeah.
I've seen ones that do, like, zines and stuff.
Yeah. So some...
well, not these, actually, but I've seen...
Artomats.
I've seen vending machines.
Yeah. So, Lights and Stream was just talking about these, and I remember you saying something about seeing those.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are great. And yeah, it's the same sort of thing. And if you look up the hashtag ATC or artist trading card anywhere, you'll find that there's a community of people that even primarily just do these. But I think it's important for everybody to try to do these, because really they're... Oh, Bruni, go! Bruni, go! Gabe?
Bruni.
They're really good for, I feel like, everybody to just try, you know? Oh, Bruni's slipping. So yeah. And there are ATC trading card groups. So Gabe and I actually participate in this one. This is our friend Pabkins. When she started doing this, she was, I think, around 5 or 6K followers, and then when she started doing this a couple years later, she's already over 11K. So she started doing this community because these are a thing too. Like, she's not the only one. There are international ones, there are official ones, there are unofficial ones. Like, there's a whole underground kind of community about this. So they're not really typically seen as fine art, unfortunately. Like, I don't know why, I don't know why fine art has to be seen as this big thing. I think you can have really cool little things, Like, I don't know. I'm frustrated overall with the art world and what people see and what they think they need to do to be in the art world. So, like, I like Spectrum. I think it's okay. I just think it might have more of a negative effect on people. I know it kind of had one on me, because it made me think to be successful, you have to be doing this kind of art. And that's extremely untrue. There are so many different ways you can do art and be successful, and it's not just that one. Because I feel like, so many people are shooting to be Spectrum artists that it's really creating this very, very closeted art mentality of, art needs to look like...
Sorry.
Art needs to, look a certain way and all that. Oh, sorry, Pabkins. Thank you, Serenity. Thank you. I had a typo. But, I feel like to be careful where you're looking for your art inspirations. Hold on. We gotta wrangle the dog. Why'd you guys even call? Bruni. She gets mad when we put on her harness. She just wants to play. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how the D got in there, honestly. I feel dumb. Dumb with a D. I'm so sad my overlay isn't working too. I don't know why Streamlabs keeps crapping out. You didn't have this problem, did you?
No.
What the crap, man? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Okay. We'll probably be ending soon, so does anybody have any questions either on art, Journey June, what I'm doing right now, industry crap, anything? If you have any questions, now's the time. Butters. Oh, and there is a pin giveaway going on Journey June right now. So, here. Right at Instagram.com/JourneyJune. Okay, that's correct. Otters? What about otters? What is your question about otters? Oh, I said otters? Oh my god, did I say otters and I didn't even know I said otters? Did I say others? I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. If I said otters, I did not mean otters. I don't think I meant otters. See, I don't need to put much detail in any of this because it's all pushed back too. No, in this one it's just a mouse basically and a snail. There's some other mice and maybe a bunny. I don't know what that is. But it's all pushed back. I do want to do a couple more things to this. Now I can get a little bit more detailed. What's wrong?
Nothing. Just tried to send myself an email, but it didn't. It, like, sent without attaching things.
Oh, that sucks. Man, I wish these colors on the camera were more indicative of what they actually are. That is maddening. I don't care what kind of camera you get. A lot of the time they do not match. Draw this bridge's shadow. I know my spectrum opinion is kind of not a widely accepted one, but I do think it's true. I mean, no matter what, be true to your own work, whether it's popular or not. Just make sure you're doing what you want to do. Okay, let's do the watermarks. next week. What am I looking forward to next week? Jeez. Oh! Thank you, Serenity. So I'm going to be ordering charms soon. They're going to be wood charms. Sorry, Butters. I'll show you what those are gonna look like. Or at least the line art. I've still gotta paint them, but since you guys are here, why not? So right now, this is still... the colors aren't right and whatever, but as far as this goes as a charm, that's going to be where the hole is, and it's going to be a wood charm, and it's going to be a little mage mouse casting a spell, and it should be about 2 inches, 2 to 2.5. And I plan on putting some metallic details on the magic. And seeing as they're wood charms, I can do that. So I'm looking forward to this. Because I actually drew a concept for this a while ago. So he could be like a keychain guy. So he's hanging by his tail on your keychain, casting whatever. I'm still wondering, I might just, instead of having drippy magic, I might just have like a little magic ball or something, just something that's more contained. Probably this is a bit too drippy, I think. So I'm excited to put that order in. Otherwise, next week, what am I excited for? I think I'll be starting Curious Collector work and the ATCs this month for my patrons, who, again, if any of you dandelions who are here want any of the ATCs I make on the streams, you can claim them just outright, and I'll just send them to you right away as your month's ATC, because I don't want to like hoard them in case somebody actually wants one. And technically you guys should get first dibs anyway. I'm going to go back to doing the water in a moment, and then we should basically be done. What about you guys? Is there something you're looking forward to next week? How about you, Serenity? Oh, are you talking about my stuff or something else? I'm actually afraid to send your stuff right now. I hear getting stuff from the States over to Europe is kind of a mess right now. I ordered something from Russia in March and I still haven't gotten it. Oh, stuff for your birds. Okay. I was like, don't be mad at me, Serenity. Oh my god. Also, I'm thinking about doing an ATC bigger of this gondola snail. I'm into it. There always needs to be a gondola snail. I think everybody could agree on that. You got it. I will wait. Let me know though when it lets up. I can try to send you a few things. You remember that paint palette I ordered, Gabe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still waiting on that. So international right now is a mess. It's difficult. Well put. Alright. Put a couple shinies. I feel like you might see this better if it's pulled out more. Maybe. Damn, I should have probably had it pulled out that much the whole time. Kind of looks better. So that's what we did tonight. It's crazy how much less finished this one looks now that it's next to this one with the ink. But if you just have it like that, even so, I might need to do some more stuff to that. But yeah. Agreed, Serenity, if that's alright. Civil unrest, oh man. Yeah, sounds about right. I get scared when things get so bad that the mail is affected. Like, you can always depend on the mail, so if the mail is having trouble, that is a bad sign. It's warmer than the Mouse City. True. True. Very true. So maybe next time, if you guys want, we can do markers. Be fun in November. Alright, so that has been our stream. I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope you're excited to try something new. I hope that you want to, you know, actually take a stab at maybe a city on, take comparison photos. I should. In our Discord, if you want a weekly challenge, we do have weekly challenges that I put up. The new one goes out every Sunday. That'll be up tomorrow. We also have this really nice area in the Discord called Weekly Goals, and it's actually just a nice area to proclaim your intentions for the next week. So if I bring you up to mine here, you know, I say what I did last week, I say what I plan to do this week, and then every week you reevaluate how you did on this. So it's really nice because a bunch of people like say their intentions, and then, you know, you encourage each other, and that's really nice. And then in general chat, I'll usually put, you know, a prompt. So this past week was design a tent or temporary residence for a fantasy sci-fi culture. So you don't even have to draw a character for that one. But these are mainly for if you ever are sitting down, you don't know what to draw, you want to draw something, you need a prompt, you can typically rely on these. And if you go to the pinned ones, oh, where do you get the pinned ones in here? And you go in the pins, I've pinned all the past weeks too, so you can always have some ideas of what to do. So that can help you out. So if you want that, you're welcome for the homework. I hope it helps. Here's the Discord link again, just in case. Megan, I want you to. I'm gonna put up the thing tomorrow, and I'll probably put these in the chat too, but definitely just draw a city. Pull up any reference of a city, whether somebody's already done one or not, whatever, and draw a city. You'd be surprised. Okay, especially when you're not so scared by using rulers, or you're not fretting, perspective. If you just kind of go and you just do it, you'd be really surprised at what you can do with it. So I highly suggest everybody give something a shot this week. Do something new, try something new, do a different medium. If you're frustrated with something, change it. All right? Don't be afraid to change things. And then, like I said, tomorrow we'll check in with the new weekly prompts. And then I'll see you guys on Saturday next week, all right? 7 p.m. Central every Saturday. See ya!